Hello and welcome to the Good Game World podcast. My name's Phil and today I'm joined with Aaron and Cormac.
Hey.
We've done this before.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. And now we're doing it again.
Okay.
So we're just going to be talking about the games we've been playing this week, so let's start with you, Aaron.
This week, as if you've been listening last week, I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is a sci-fi action JRPG with a kind of an open world feel to it.
I think it's a game most people know from Shulk from Smash Bros.
Sure.
I never heard of it until he was in Smash Bros. So.
Oh, okay, fair
I
enough.
sort of played the opening scene of Xenoblade Chronicles, so I know who Shulk is, but I'm not sure, is he in X?
I don't know. I haven't come across that character yet.
Oh, really?
So it's a different world. It's a spiritual successor rather than a plot successor. So.
Oh, man.
Oh, I thought he might have been like the main characters of the game, and you were like, I haven't come across him yet.
No,
It's like
the main character of X is like it's a Okay, let's start from the beginning, right?
I'm too confused.
It's open world JRPG, and open world stuff isn't really like the realm of Japanese developers. They tend to go for very linear storytelling stuff, rather than Euro American RPGs, which tend to be like Skyrim and The Witcher and Fallout and all those kind of games. So the plot is basically big ship escapes Earth because aliens blew up Earth, land on another planet, become monster hunter for a little while, and then suddenly you discover that some of the aliens that blew up your planet are on this planet, and so you have like a bad guy as well as the flora and fauna. And it's actually structured because it's open world. Yeah, sorry.
Have you come across the head of Statue of Liberty and then you realise you're still on Earth yet?
I'm waiting for that cutscene.
Okay.
Because
soon.
Because this game is a lot of cutscenes.
It literally just cuts in the movie footage straight.
Like Hideo Kojima has nothing on this game, genuinely.
Wow.
No, it's more like in the first 3 hours of gameplay, it's all about setting up the world, setting up the characters, setting everything up. So you walk 3 foot, and then there's a small cutscene where your 2 companions explain something to you.
So it's kind of like a bit like Final Fantasy X.
In a tremendous amount of ways, it's like Final Fantasy X. Mostly it has an X at the end of the name. But no, it's very bright and colourful. It has this really kind of big, pretty kind of vista. Like Final Fantasy X looked like a tropical holiday.
Yeah.
And this has a very similar kind of thing to it, where it looks like glamour shots from a tourist website. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and it's huge. Running around this place. And there's big continents. You start off on one continent and you think, holy shit, this is huge, and you zoom out of the map and there's like 2 or 3 more continents that you can get to. In true JRPG style, there's like 60-70 hours of gameplay here at least.
Because I was about to ask, like what's the scale of the game?
It's a planet. I mean, no, honestly, like you have to survey the whole planet. Like every hex needs to be catalogued, including all the monsters and all the flora and fauna and all the vitamins and minerals in the ground and all that kind of shit.
So kind of like there's a nice completion kind of.
Oh man, when you
quest.
talk about like getting 100% in this game, you're putting in like 90, 100 hours of gameplay. Genuinely, it's kind of like if you're playing an MMO and you want to finish like all the quests in a region.
Yeah, I've played World of Warcraft for like.
If you're like you can skip most side quests because they're just tat.
I don't want to tell you the days I've lost World of Warcraft.
I can well imagine.
I'm afraid it's saying it's in the hundreds is like a fucking fraction of
conservative
it.
estimate.
That's like a 1 character.
So I gave up count after the first 40 hours.
So with Xenoblade, you're running around and you're attacking these monsters, the animals as they are really, and you can come across these huge high level monsters that like whop you in one hit, or you can come across really low level stuff. It kind of, there's no area with high level monsters and area with low level monsters.
Right.
They're all just scattered throughout.
Yes, so that is one thing. Like, what's the gameplay like?
It's a fusion between Western and Eastern RPG style kind of stuff. It's very similar to an MMO in not only in questing, but in also in gameplay. So it's cooldown based. So you have an ability that does something, and then you have another ability that procs off the first one. And you combo it in the right way, and you time your cooldowns.
Yeah.
It has like elements of some of the newer Final Fantasy games. Where it is like an action RPG, so you're running around, you do more damage from the side and back than you do from the front, that kind of stuff.
So it's not a concept of, oh, I've got my Faraga spell, use that every single time.
It's
more
not
of
like
a concept
traditional
of
JRPG,
it's more a concept of you got like 12 different abilities, or well, obviously less than that, but like some abilities say only work if you've successfully landed a crit or something like that.
Yeah,
and
some of them only work from the
available.
side or back as well, so you got to like jump and dash around.
Alright, so it's something you could proper like build up a fucking like actual combat order. There's probably online guides going in depth. Like, this is why you want to prioritize this move over this one.
Almost certainly, and leveling up your abilities as well. You know, like you put when you get levels, you get points that you invest into your abilities and stuff. You know, so you can maximize your grenade over your knife and stuff. So you can be a bit more of a ranged guy, or you know, that kind of way. Because you have like melee and ranged that you can just hot swap.
It's like specialize in each character.
Yeah. It is class-based, and the classes do determine... Well, you can kind of do any quest, really. They're all available to you, but your class generally kind of guides you down certain quest paths. So if you're not looking for a 100% complete kind of thing, you can just kind of follow the main quest line where you're given your orders and you just go off and do the stuff for your class quest. But you can ultimately, like, if you're playing the class that is supposed to be... harvesting minerals and like surveying the landscape. You can also do police stuff if you want. You can sort out like domestic disputes, and all that kind of crap as well. So you do have a lot of flexibility in storytelling. You know, right? There is a main plot, and the main plot's very strong. Like a lot of JRPGs, it is a very strongly narrative-driven game. But because of the MMO elements to it, I mean, it is a single-player game, but there are like the MMO elements are very visible. You can kind of pretty much play the game however you want. Ultimately.
That's something I actually want to ask about, because like that's been a thing with a few recent RPGs where they kind of incorporate MMO elements, and it's nearly always detrimental to the overall game. Like, how has that affected this?
I think that this game would suffer if it was more linear. I mean, the criticisms that apply to the newer Final Fantasy games, I think that they've been taken into consideration with this. Like the Xenoblade games, the Xeno series in general has a strong relationship with the Final Fantasy series. I think like one of the original Xeno game was supposed to be a spin-off of Final Fantasy VII initially. I could be mistaken on that, but I do think they have very simple, like very tight development history.
We just put a nice citation needed here.
Wiki link in the video. But
hit subscribe, guys.
Crackpottheories.com. See, it says it on there.
There's nothing proving me wrong. Right?
It's written down.
It's written. It's in a book. Yeah. So they kind of went for the complete opposite to say Final Fantasy 13, where instead of a corridor simulator, it's this huge open world, and the fact that you can like the guy's giving you quests. It's not simply a case of walking up to someone and they say please collect 3 flowers. You know what I mean? And then you run off and you pick them up and he goes, thank you, here's your generic loot. Instead it's a case, like there's a story behind every mission. You know, there's an actual little narrative, so it's like, oh shit, we have like a development thing and we need to get these crystals and man, my boss is going to be so angry, and you're like, got it. Yeah, fucking I'll help you out, bro. And you go and you grab the crystals and he's like, oh thank god, here's like a cool gun that we made with these crystals. You know, it actually tries to like form a little bit of a world and a narrative, because you're all working for this one city. You know, you land on the planet, as I said, so you're all just trying to survive, so you're all working together. It all kind of builds into the feel of the world.
Yeah, so like the quests seem to have like a kind of like world building effect.
Absolutely. They're directly relevant to what's actually happening, whereas in a lot of MMOs it's like random farmer asking you to kill.
I was going to say that
hogs,
I have a huge problem with like playing games like Skyrim and Fallout 3 and stuff. I haven't actually completed either of them because there's too much choice, I suppose, in that like you start playing Skyrim and you can play whatever class and you can build up any tree and you can go wherever you want, and like without that structure I find myself just getting lost or getting bored and restarting on a new class like with intense, even though I know that I don't have to because I could just pump skills into another thing.
Yeah.
But
Skyrim is kind of directionless in a lot of ways. Yeah. The main quest is like a 20-hour quest max, really. Whereas with this, it takes you at least 20 hours until you get your giant robot suit. Yeah. You know, like...
Spoilers.
It's on the cover.
I haven't seen the cover.
I'm sure you've seen it. You've seen it in my house.
No, I haven't. Stop lying.
Maybe that's the big baddie, though. We don't know this, Aaron.
Exactly.
We thought Shulk was the main character.
That's true, yeah. So yeah, like it seems to be a case of the core quest is so long, you know, which it's not in a critical kind of thing. It's long, you know, in a good way. It drives you forward. There's these very defined points in the core quest that you're aiming towards at all times. Like becoming the Dragonborn, you're like, yeah, whatever. I have a dragon shout like 20 minutes into the game. I'm already the Dragonborn. Let's go off and kill some like Draugr or something.
Actually, that is one thing, because like what's like the quest variety like in the game? Because like I know playing Skyrim and then actually Fallout 4 as well, so many of the missions just kind of go to cave, kill bandits, go to factory, kill bandits. Like what's it like in this?
Ultimately, they're kind of like 4 main quest types. You know, everything falls into like 4 archetypes. There's the go and kill stuff.
Yeah,
obviously, because it's a game with monsters in it. So, but that'll be either divided up between, you know, go and like catalog this monster and kill it, or like go and hunt out this giant monster that's rampaging through the lands, and it's a big, you know, dynamic fight against this huge creature.
It's all just a huge like misunderstanding. It was actually a Pokemon Snap mission. It's like, go shoot that monster.
Dragging this huge head, like, what have you done?
There was only one of those on the whole planet. It's extinct now.
It's like if the next Pokemon Snap game has a morality system built in.
Do like the Mass Effect thing of like Paragon and
Xenoblade PETA are like attacking you and throwing tomatoes at you in every town.
It would be like the Dragon Age thing where it's like you shoot like a Tauros or something. It's like Professor Oak disapproves -20 or something.
I was not the time to use that. The other missions are go to this area that we've already discovered and plant a beacon that harvests minerals and gold for us, and it's like a satellite beacon that, you know, catalogs the area, and it's all meant to be like the city trying to catalog the planet. Then there's the standard fetch quest of go and harvest plants and crystals and you know, and corpses and stuff for research purposes. And
presumably animal corpses.
Robot corpses are a big thing. That's one of the things, actually. You're trying to pick up pieces of your ship that crashed as well, because they have all tech and stuff in it that they need.
We need a new Pikmin game. You guys haven't played Pikmin, have you?
No, we haven't.
Alright, the very first Pikmin is like, oh shit, you crashed on a planet, get the Pikmin to put your ship together. Sorry.
Spoiler type of that, you know?
And then the last one
had like 20 years.
The last mission type is kind of a blend of a few together, where it's go to this unexplored area, delve into these caves, collect a load of shit, catalogue the area. You know, you're more on the exploratory end rather than on the kind of the scientific end, if that makes sense.
It's like a lucky dip quest.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, you don't know what you'll find. You could come across this like big, disgusting 80-foot long worm that eats you, or it could be like, you know, like you walk into a cave as like a level 20 and this big like level 80 comes up and it's like poof, one hit, you're dead. Like, oh, okay, well that's something, you know.
I know what's in your cave now.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can find like cool crystals and plants and shit growing. So yeah, they're kind of like the main bodies of the quest, like all in all.
Yeah, so what you were mentioning there, like sort of some of the quests are exploration, about scanning areas and stuff. Like, does that tie directly into discovering new areas and opening up the map?
Yeah, generally, the way the kind of quests are structured, you know, it's go and do this thing, and then it opens up another quest that, you know, might kind of push you forward into doing more stuff. I know that sounds like it's such a generic, bland statement, but what I mean is if you're playing the class that specializes in exploration, you might have to go and, you know, you'd be sent off on an exploration quest that'll like start pushing slowly the boundary of your visible area, of the area you know, out, and then you might be sent off to like drop a beacon on the new area you discovered, and then you might discover there's a giant monster in the area and you have to go and beat it, you know. So it kind of stacks these quests.
They kind of like chain together.
They kind of they kind of grows. So like it really is a case of the whole world that you're living in grows as you push the quests forward.
So they have a very kind of organic feel.
It really does. It's a surprisingly like well built world. Like, this is going to sound really like awfully critical for a JRPG. They actually put a lot of effort into creating a relatively believable sci-fi world, because a lot of JRPGs it's a lot of style over substance.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about like it's meant to be flashy and cool, but doesn't really hold up to scrutiny. Whereas this actually does kind of feel like a thing rather than
so there's
like pure
no
fantasy.
So there's no like Fire Emblem like 10,000-year-old dragons in the body of a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, none of that. None of that. Thankfully, it's. I mean, yeah, no, none of that. Instead, it's 14-year-old girls inside the body of a giant robot, which is fine because
It's okay.
giant robots, you know.
Equal rights and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Those robots have rights.
No, that sounds really cool because like the only real other JRPG I played, and this is heresy really, is Final Fantasy X, and I kind of just dumped you on one of the map, and it was like a guided tour to the other end.
Yeah, Final Fantasy games.
You've played Pokemon.
Yeah, that doesn't count though.
Japanese.
Yeah.
As monsters.
Actually, to be fair, Pokemon is probably most people's first introduction to JRPGs. It is like a JRPG light. But Final Fantasy, if you played Final Fantasy X, you're going to feel a lot of similarities to this game. Not specifically gameplay-wise, it does kind of feel like a perfect blend between the MMO and the more corridor simulator style Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
But in the world it's built, yeah, you're going to get a lot of flavours of Final Fantasy X kicking around there. Lots of trendy clothes and buckles and straps and, you know, evil robots and stuff like that.
A dress made out of belts and...
Yeah, exactly. And a belt made out of dresses.
Yeah. No, I really like that because I often say that, you know, Final Fantasy is my favourite movie that I've ever played.
Oh.
I really like that game.
Yeah.
Game.
That game, yeah. That game, Final Fantasy, the one that they made.
The one that made, yeah. Why do they call it X though? I don't like. I heard they're remaking.
It was the X-rated version.
It's like episodic. It's better as a movie. Alright, so like overall impression of Xenoblade X Chronicles.
If you have a Wii U, it's definitely one of those games you have to buy for it. Honestly, the Wii U has a relatively limited pool of more serious JRPGs or RPGs in general. Really,
Yeah.
like if you're into role playing, at all, it's a must buy. Honestly, not only because you don't have much choice, but it's a great example of a modern JRPG. It's a great example of a JRPG, and it's fixed all the problems that the Final Fantasy series has made in recent years.
Okay.
All the mistakes.
All the errors and all the fuck ups.
So would recommend to a friend out of 10.
Would recommend to 2 friends sitting either side of me out of 10.
Nice.
Out of X.
I feel all warm and fuzzy now.
It's X out of X.
X out of X. Nice. Alright, well, I've also been playing an RPG this week. It's, Western RPG, but it's one that kind of borrows heavily from certain JRPGs. The game I've been playing is Undertale. And, I haven't got anything really bad to say about it because everyone and their nan loved this game, so I can't say anything bad about it. But that aside,
you could try. If you
try,
truly believe.
I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this one just because, like, I kind of just assumed everyone had played it, but I was talking to a few people and they actually hadn't.
I actually haven't either, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
I've watched.
I'm very
a lot of people
lazy in my games, like.
sorry, specific. I was talking to you two, and neither of you. So I was like, I'll talk about it today. Yeah, no, it's really good. It's an RPG, kind of visually kind of similar to Mother 3, if you've ever played that or seen that.
Also a Smash Bros. Character.
Also a Smash Bros. Character.
2 Smash Bros. Characters. Mother and Mother 2.
It's like Mother 2. Well, the general gist is that, like, you're a human who's fallen into this secret mountain that has all the monsters that used to be in the world are packed under it. And there's like a barrier they can't get through.
Like a Cherninoki kind of thing.
I wouldn't know, but I'm assuming since you're saying it must be similar. And you're kind of just roaming through this world, and the goal is to get to the other side and escape out the barrier. Oh. And the whole gameplay gimmick is that as you're going along, you come across all the monsters that live in this world, and you can either the whole gimmick is that you don't necessarily have to kill them, that you can fight them and kill them, get the XP, get the gold, or you can talk to them and spare them, like basically talk your way out of a fight, and I think that's really cool.
Will they give me gold?
Yeah, you will get gold for talking your way out of a fight.
Huh.
Oh man,
If only that worked in Dublin. Give me your wallet. You give me your wallet. Yeah, right.
It's like one hell of a mugging. You
walk out and go, what the fuck just happened?
How to mug people as a charisma class.
The problem is all the dialogue options that you have to choose. Here, I'll get me your brother after you.
Yeah, it's like a couple things that are really fantastic about it. Like the overworld is really nice and kind of comfy as you're going around it. The music in the game is absolutely extraordinary. The fellow who made Toby Fox, I think, is mostly a composer.
Okay.
70% mostly a composer.
30% human.
33% human. I have to admit, I'm not massively familiar with his other work, but it like the music in the game is absolutely amazing. Like I've actually just got some of it on my playlist as I'm walking around because it's so good.
He's well known for that song "Insert Here" and this other song "Insert Here."
Yeah, well, we'll edit those in later.
I don't think you're that good at editing it.
Lazy. But something that's really, again, with the combat's really cool in the game because, like I was saying, you can talk your way out of fights, and the way it works is when you run into people, you have different dialogue options, and not necessarily all of it works or works the way you want it to. Like you can talk to someone and actually aggravate them, make their attacks more powerful against you.
Touchy subject kind of thing, or insult them accidentally, or
yeah, like you come across someone, you can kind of like the two options are please don't kill me and fight me, and the fight me kind of speeds the battle up. And there's other cases where you run into a guy whose like main move is like flexing his muscles, and you can get into a flexing contest with him, and he can flex himself out of the room.
What?
Yeah, he flexes so hard he goes out of the room. And there's like another fight where it's
like
just
something happened in his prostate or something like that. Oh, I gotta go, guys.
that's one hell of a method there.
I flexed.
Well, I don't know what he looks like.
It's like just causes like massive explosive diarrhea from flexing too much. It's like I've got to go now.
I saw that happen in a video. A guy was doing squats and he shot himself.
Oh god,
It's really funny.
Click the link in the description.
We'll find it. We'll put it in actually. Yeah.
We'll do a reaction video to it. GGI reacts to man shitting himself.
Let's copyright that.
Yeah, that's yeah. Copyright podcast for like the first people to ever do this. Imagine just talking to your friends about video games. Like if people have to do that in real life, they have to pay us 20 quid now.
Yeah.
You agreed to those terms and conditions by watching this video.
PayPal address in the link below.
Anyway, back to the game.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and the way it works is like as you're talking to them, they have these attacks, or like these attacks that I don't know how you describe it. It's like those like top down. I think they're called like bullet hell.
Bullet hell,
shooters.
yeah.
Where it's like you control your heart, which represents your soul on the screen in this like little box.
Oh, how lovely.
And the enemy attacks kind of pass through the box, every enemy obviously has different moves, and some of them are different depending on the round or what you're doing. Like as you talk to them, it might change.
Okay. And you can dodge the attacks, and can you hit them back when they're attacking you, or is that like turn-based combat?
It's like a turn-based thing where, like, say you're talking to them, right? You'll talk to them, then they'll attack, or if you're fighting them, and the fight when you actually attack them, it's really weird. It's a bit like a golf game the way it works. Like a bar goes across the screen, and you have to like tap the button again to get it to stop at a certain point, and that decides how much damage you deal.
Okay, yeah. It's like getting your perfect strength swing in a golf game.
Yeah, it was just, like when I was sitting there playing, all I could think of was like Tiger Woods PGA. I was like, this is really weird.
Just picture the actual fight with a golf club.
That might even be a weapon in the game, because like all the weapons are stuff like toy knives and sticks and stuff. And
this is adorable.
Oh, it is really cool. And like some bosses put different status effects on you, so that like changes how you move during the fight. Like there's one boss there's like some characters who turn your heart blue, which means that it drops down to the bottom of the box,
and you can only grind along the back.
Well, rather than floating through it, like you jump. There's like it adds gravity.
Oh, right.
It adds gravity to it. There's another boss which puts you on these 3 rails, and you can jump up and down between the 3 rails as like stuff shoots across them. Like it kind of changes up the gameplay a bit.
That's super neat.
And something else to like the way the game's meant to be played. Of course, it's made to be played that way.
It's built into the game.
The way it seems to almost meant to be played is the kind of pacifist route where you don't fight things, and there's like kind of 2 things for that. Like one is the fights are easier if you talk to people. As you fight them, their attacks get more extreme, or certain bosses are tougher if you've been killing stuff all along.
Okay.
And the other thing is that if you do kill anything, everyone in the game was like, "Oh, why are you killing people they're attacking you for? That's really, really bad." And
so the monsters aren't evil monsters, really. They're just
they're just
guys who live in a real
They're
world
like
in their own
the
little...
sewer mutants in Futurama or something. Just like
Oh, okay.
they're just like they're nice guys.
They just
Even
look
though
Yeah,
they
kind of, like,
just
well,
look weird.
it's like one of them's evil, but the rest of them, I think the whole thing is like the rest of them don't even know that they're hurting you by doing this stuff.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because like a lot of characters in the game don't even realize you're a human. So like I
Has
think
they never seen them before, or
yeah, they're so rare. I mean, like a
Okay.
few have fallen down before, but like they don't really recognize them because they've never seen the outside world.
right?
So
So I'm assuming it's been a long time since the thing was sealed up.
yeah.
Okay.
Like the characters in the game are absolutely great. Like some of the NPCs have got like massive fan followings already.
I've seen a lot of this skeleton guy.
Yeah, there's two skeletons in the game, and they're named after the two worst fonts in the universe, Sans and Papyrus. And they're really cool. Like, what's it called? I really like all the NPCs. Like each NPC is like a full character. Even ones you just kind of talk to have like a bit, even just visible personality, or they're visibly different.
It's not like in Pokemon where they're like literally just a text box.
Yeah, like
I like hiking. Have you seen my Geodude?
yeah, like you're not going to run into like bloody bug catcher number 27 down the way. Like, and some of the enemies you run into out in the world, like there was a bunch of like these like guard dogs about the place, and when I got to the next village, they were like in the local diner, and I thought that was a really nice touch. Although I imagine if you killed them, they wouldn't be there. But and that is like another thing about the game. Like it is kind of short. There's very little backtracking, which I guess I appreciate, because I mean, like you're like Cormac we talked about in Donkey Kong 64, I don't really like that in a game. But the game is relatively short, and I think the reason for that is that you're meant to play it multiple times, because the ending you get is different depending on how you played it, and the final boss is different depending on how you played it.
Right.
So like if you're going through the game, because there's like three main endings. There's like the neutral ending, which is the one you get the first time no matter what, or if you kill some of the stuff but not all of it. Then there's like a true pacifist ending, where if you don't kill anything, but you can only do it in your second playthrough, if you don't kill anything at all, you get that ending. And there's the genocide run, where if you kill everything, you get a different ending again. And like that's meant to be like the hard mode of the game, because the bosses are all way tougher, the enemies are all way tougher.
Oh, so if you don't attack anything, the bosses don't scale up with you, but if you actually kill stuff and start leveling up, the bosses scale up as well?
Yeah, because you only get XP if you kill things. Like you don't get it if you don't. Like a full run where you don't kill anything, you'd be level 1 at the end.
So again, it's not like Skyrim, where if you make enough daggers, you end up with these like level 50 Draugr. Okay, that's good. Yeah,
that would be absolutely amazing.
Now we're ripping into like Skyrim.
That's like we have to make like.
Well, we're not getting paid to say that like it's a 10 out of 10 game, so why not?
Yeah, that's true.
If you would like to pay us to say that Skyrim is a 10 out of 10 game,
An X out of X game.
yeah, an X out of X game.
Like seriously, we'll sell out for a packet of chocolate digestives. Like, just give us a cup of tea and we'll say anything about your game.
If you can find me chocolate rich teas, because I have not been able to find them in any of the shops. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really charming. It's really good. The visual style is great. The music is absolutely fantastic. The gameplay, like has a bit of a like kind of unique take on it compared to like some other games I played.
So it looks like a NES game from what I've seen. All the screenshots and stuff.
Yeah, like I was saying, like visually it looks very similar to Mother 3.
Okay.
I think it definitely took a lot of cues from that. Like it. I mean, I'm certain if we go on the Wikipedia after this, probably like whatever his name was, Toby Fox. I love.
Yeah.
I'm certain I'm getting the guy's name
Earthbound
wrong.
is the greatest guy.
Earthbound is the great. He's a pretty cool guy. He doesn't kill anyone. He's not afraid of anything.
Should we just do like a nice apologetic, like fucking all the facts we got wrong?
All the facts we got wrong. The counter ding ding ding.
Do like a scroller right at the end.
See, that gets very subjective though, because if we keep saying Skyrim shit,
Just links to all these like GameSpot and IGN reviews with the 10 out of 10s. Like,
I think all the RPGs we've been playing, it is sort of like the underlying theme of this podcast is how much we all just like didn't enjoy Skyrim after 20 hours.
We should get like a Marcus Deacon kind of thing, where it's like, well, yeah, with all these mods though, it's brilliant, you know?
It's
the best game ever.
Yeah. It's a great game.
Yeah, like our friend Marcus like has Skyrim modded like to hell, and I'm actually kind of I don't know how he runs it, but like
He has 24 gig of RAM.
yeah, we'll have to find out often if it's a better game. But anyway,
Obviously, Engagement makes everything a better game.
Oh, that mod looks fantastic. Or the Macho Man.
The Macho Man horse one.
What's to say about that game though? That the only way it's good is if you add if you make the game ridiculous on its own premise.
Alright, so more Undertale. Go.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I was saying, like most people and their nan have played this game at this point and already decided they loved it. But for anyone who hasn't, like, it's definitely worth the play. And like I've just been sort of casually playing it before bedtime.
Filthy casually playing.
How much does it cost? And is it worth?
It's like a tenner on Steam. I haven't looked recently because I got it over Christmas, so like I'm not. I should have looked it up before we did this.
How long is the game?
What?
How long is it?
It's not terribly long. It's only like if you sort of play through it, it's only like a few hours long. But the whole point, like I was saying, is that you play it through it multiple times.
Oh.
So it's a 5-hour long game, but you got to play it 3 times to get the most out of it. So
it's like proper AAA sort of indie game where it's only
triple
made
A indie
AAA indie game.
That's the industry we're in now.
It is literally, it's like that fucking Fez, like where you spend like 20 years of your life making this game, and it's like, oh my god, it's the best game.
You quit Twitter every 6 months.
Yeah, then you quit because someone said that like your hat looks stupid. So I'm not making Fez 2 now.
Yeah, well, I've got to give it a 10 out of 10 because everyone else did.
Peer pressure.
It's a really good game. It's not the greatest game ever made around like that. And it's not. I don't think it's a game that I could play endlessly. Like I'm enjoying it a hell of a lot at the moment, but I think once you finish it, like get the couple of different endings, like I don't think you'll be sitting there thinking, oh, I can't wait to play that again, because it's not terribly long. And
there are people that have played Mass Effect multiple times for all the different endings, and Fallout, and like, yeah.
Some people are addicted.
People are going to put it into.
Some people are addicted to tedium, you know. It's
Crusader Kings 2.
Crusader Kings 2.
Oh yes.
Which has new DLC. Buy it now. Buy it now.
EVE Online. It's like the Crusader Kings devs may or may not give us a pack of biscuits for life. But yeah, no, I definitely would recommend overall.
Cool. Nice one. Cool. So that leaves me. I've been playing Donkey Kong 64, as Phil mentioned earlier. I think we've kind of got a system going now where we all play a game that's way too old to be playing in this day and age. But the reason I've been playing it actually is because I suppose my girlfriend doesn't really play games at all. Like she never really... Like she played Worms Armageddon, I think, on her PC, like the trial version that everyone had. And was really excited actually in our first event when we had Worms Armageddon, because she was like, I can play that game. And I looked at her and I was like, you can't really. Gave her a pallet.
I think I can.
Here, I'm mean enough to you, I can be mean to my girlfriend.
Sometimes. Not when she's not here. That's awful.
She'll hear it on the podcast, and then I'll get a slap then, so she'll get her own back. It's fine.
Yeah. We're not here to do cyberbullying, okay? So that's...
Yeah, sorry, Marcus. So Donkey Kong 64 is, I suppose, for anyone who doesn't know, is a platformer on the N64 made by Rareware, who were like my favourite studio of all time. I'm sure that everyone knows that at this stage. So the other platformers they made were the 2 Banjo-Kazooie games, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and obviously Donkey Kong 64. They're the main ones, as well as some other fantastic games on the N64 as well. But it kind of, I think it landed just after Banjo-Kazooie. I can't remember where it is in their kind of timeline. Yeah. But you can really feel it. So like Banjo-Kazooie, I suppose, if anyone's played it, is quite linear. Like each level is separate unto itself. There's a whole world. You get abilities, you continue on. Cool. Goes off in a nice line.
It's like unlocked by new skills kind of thing.
Banjo-Tooie is, in my opinion now, it's markedly better than that, and has a bit of backtracking, but it loops all the levels together, you know. So you enter the first level and you can only get so far, and there's like this big block here, and you're like, how the fuck do I open the block?
It's the spiritual predecessor to Dark Souls.
Yeah, and then like,
Put that in the back of the box.
but like Banjo-Tooie, where you've done the first level, and there's some places that like you can see in the first level, and like there's gates, and it's like, why the hell is that even there? And then you go on to the next level, and it loops back, and there's a way back into the previous level, and it's kind of cool because
that's brilliant. Yeah,
it's like a lot of backtracking, but it feels like
it's fluid.
It feels organic, you know. Donkey Kong 64 is unfortunately probably the worst of those 4 platformers. Not to say it's a bad game. Like, I love it. Like, that's the only reason I'm playing it, is because I know it and I've played it, and I'm like, oh, Hannah, you need to play this game because I love it, you know. It's kind of got that Rareware kind of humour to it, like like all the interactions between, like, even though all the monkeys, the main guys you play, don't talk, kind of the stores and the upgrade areas, they talk to you, and that's quite humorous. So the way it works in terms of its backtracking issue, I suppose, is, so you start off with just 1 out of 5 unlockable characters, which is Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And there's a few training things and whatever, and you go into the first level. And the first level, so each character can get 5 golden bananas, which are like jiggies or like whatever, you know, the main collectible thing.
Yeah.
But
like the coins in Mario World, the Yoshi
yeah,
coins.
like yeah, exactly. Like Yoshi coins in Mario World are like stars in Super Mario,
In
obviously.
64.
64, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure. Donkey Kong goes into the first level. He can get like 4 of the 5 bananas straight off the bat without like help from any of the other Kongs. He can collect like 100. Like, every Kong can collect 100 bananas in each level.
Yeah.
So, but then the only person that's unlockable in the first level is Diddy Kong. So you unlock Diddy Kong, and then he's got 100 like red bananas now that Donkey Kong can't collect. He has to collect them specifically, and there's also his 5 golden bananas.
Right.
So then you do as much as you can in the first level, and then you go on to the second level, and you can unlock 2 more of the monkeys. And it's like, yeah, great, we've unlocked 2 of the monkeys, but then they've also got 100 bananas and fucking 5 like golden bananas to collect
in the first level, and then in the second
in the first level and the second level. So it's kind of, and you can only and there's coins as well. So the coins unlock abilities, and like, there's no real way of gauging how many coins you've gotten in each level. You kind of just have to have explored enough. You know what I mean? So it does get tedious unless like, but each of the golden bananas that you're getting is actually quite enjoyable to get, and
it's good platforming.
It's good platforming, and it's good like I suppose.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like if you have to do like say the first couple of stars on Mario 64 over and over again. Like at the core, it's fun, but can get tedious from replaying.
Oh yeah, entirely. The only thing is that you are unlocking new areas in each level. So like, as in, you go into the first level, and like almost one of the first things is you go into a cave, and there's like a locked off area to the left, and there's a symbol of like, I think it's the pineapple or something like that.
Yeah.
You know. So and you can't go into that area, and there's like lots of switches. So like all the different Kongs have different guns. So like Donkey Kong shoots coconuts, Diddy Kong shoots peanuts, Tiny Kong feathers, Lanky Kong grapes, and
You shoot feathers.
Shut up.
It's like
it's with a crossbow as well, so it makes even less sense.
Oh my god.
At least like the grape shooter is actually like a blow dart, which
Yeah.
would make more sense for the feathers. But shut up. And then like there's the last guy's pineapples. So like there's different areas that are unlocked essentially by shooting switches with each of the different fruits on them. So that's how you like.
It's like a weird Donkey Kong themed Metroidvania.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But that being said, like all the platform is great, and like if you go and get your upgrades off Cranky, he's like suitably cranky. He's just he's always like super like, oh, you're shit. Like here's a potion to make you better at like killing like something that I could have killed easily 30 years ago. You know?
What do you want? Fuck off.
Yeah. So yeah, so in terms of regression, like the reason that you get the golden bananas is what do you unlock with golden bananas? Golden bananas get you, I can't actually even remember, like because
Compelling gameplay.
No, I actually can't. That's really bad. Because normal bananas essentially unlock the boss area. So like so actually it's kind of cute to unlock the boss. You go into like this little boss portal, and you collect all the bananas together with like your different Kongs. So say you got 100 with Donkey Kong and 60 with Diddy Kong. You
Yeah.
go into like the first boss like room, and sitting there is like this hippo and this pig, you know, and the hippo's not like, and they're both on like little pedestals, and the hippo's really thin, and like one's really thin and the one's really fat essentially.
Never put Porky in a
And
pedestal.
the fat one can't reach like the boss door essentially. So what you've got to do is you've got to start feeding the hippo until he's heavy enough to lift up the pig to where the door is, and he opens the door for the boss room.
Oh wow.
It's like the pedestals kind of balance each other out. When one goes down, the other goes up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's kind of, and like it'll have like a number on it, and like you just throw bananas at the hippo and he starts swallowing them. and then it like the door unlocks and it tells you which like monkey's got to go in and kill this boss. So like the first one's like I like Rare because like all their bosses are pretty cool.
The Great Mighty Pooh.
Huh? That is possibly one of the best bosses. But like even like Banjo-Tooie is probably like in my point of in my opinion. That's the word. I know words. But like if you've ever played Banjo-Tooie, as in like the bosses in that are just so distinct and just so like different and just enjoyable to fight against. Like whereas Banjo-Kazooie not so much, I suppose. There's very few actual bosses that I can think of, you know what I mean? Whereas Donkey Kong 64 has this like the bosses are kind of cute and they're like King K. Rool's like minions, and he's sending them off, and anytime you beat them there's like a little cutscene and they come back with their tails between their legs and they're like, I'm sorry. But say for instance the armadillo, like he just like, it's fairly simple mechanic. He rolls around, he's chasing you, you gotta dodge him, he gets tired, you throw barrels and you not hit him 3 times, he's gone, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And he gets all sad, he runs off crying, but you actually fight him again in a later thing, but he's been upgraded with bazookas on his shoulders. If I remember correctly. But yeah, it's just sort of I'm gonna double check all this because I haven't played it in like 15 years, so it's sort of like going back and like
been watching Hannah play it instead.
Yeah, and actually from the point of view of like Hannah playing it, as in one of the issues with going back to games that you know so well, like say for instance if you went back and played Ocarina of Time, as in like all 3 of us know exactly how Forest Temple, Water Temple, Fire Temple, like get or other order, whatever.
So we can literally
as in like literally play backwards, like Golden Skulltula is being like pinged off walls, and you're just like shooting giant pose. Like it's not even difficult because you know where everything is. And I kind of have that with DK64.
Right.
So like I have like a solo playthrough I was going on, and that's literally just like bam, levels done within like an hour, and like there's a lot of like playing in it. Like it's a very long game actually if you don't know where stuff is. And I've noticed that a lot with Hannah, where she's like, where do I go now? And I was like, just explore, you know.
And it's like you might have lost appreciation of how obtuse it can be.
Oh yeah, as in it's like, because it's so sprawling and there's so much backtracking and there's so much to pay attention to, you know what I mean? As in like I can't remember if I have all the bananas, or like say if you're missing like 3 bananas for Lanky Kong and you want to collect stuff, like 3 of like the small little collectible ones, you know, and you don't know where they are, you could literally go around the whole map looking for this. It can be long just from a point of view of just getting lost all the time, you know, and not being sure. And like 25 bananas like across 5 characters per level means that most of the levels are a lot bigger than you expect, you know what I mean?
Like bigger than Mario 64.
Oh no, yeah, huge.
Yeah, because they're quite tight actually, like as far as levels go.
That's and that's the thing, Mario 64, because of the point of view that every time you get a star it resets the level. This doesn't do that. It's just you can collect as many bananas as you want. You just keep going and going and going until you think that you can't find any more, and then you get a new character to unlock a new area. I kind of, the way I've been talking, I hope that people don't think that I don't like this game, because I love it, but the worry is, am I just seeing it through nostalgia rimmed glasses is the issue, you know?
It's kind of like when you're younger and you have games, you know, you love them because they're the only games you have.
That's the thing, and that's why the original Legend of Zelda is such a classic, because literally it told you nothing. Like, did you get a map with it? I can't remember, but it was just like, go explore, and like so many of the feckin' like key points in that are, you gotta push this obscure block to the left, and you wouldn't have figured that out if you hadn't been so pissed off that you've done everything. And it's like, I'm gonna try everything, I'm gonna push this block, I'm gonna kill all the enemies in every single square.
Well, I think that's the thing, because you know, when you're younger and you don't have much money for games, like you literally just have that one game. And I remember when we had Ocarina of Time, it was like the only game we had for the N64, so I would have played it to death. Whereas now, you know, you've got like 500 games in your Steam library, maybe 20 of them you've played, and you get
emulate anything older than that. So
and I think if you get like slightly annoyed, you kind of just go, forget that, I'll go play something else.
But that happened recently. Playing Vermintide, and it was just like, we lost in hard mode, fuck it, time to go back to Company Heroes. Let's play 45 minutes of that instead.
So, like, what is the story of DK64?
Okay, sorry. So I did go over that. So the story is, so if you played the any of the other Rare Donkey Kong games, which are the country games, Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't remember how many Donkey Kong Country games there are.
Donkey Kong SNES.
I think it's all of them but the newest two.
Yeah, but the new ones are remade by Retro Studios, who did a fantastic job. Actually, you should get those as well. Well, Tropical Freeze is like not a reboot. It's not a remake. It's an actual their own game thing.
Is it better than Diddy Kong Racing? You know.
That's also a Rareware game, which is also fantastic. Everyone just play Rareware games, guys. Just,
well, not the new ones, but
well, Viva Pinata, if you like. Yeah. Sorry, but the story is essentially so King K. Rool is back and he wants to take over the feckin' island. So he does what any proper megalomaniac evil person does, and he has a giant ship about the size of the island and shape of the island, and he just like crashes into the island and says right, and like it's funny because it's just sort of like he lands at the island and then like next scene is Donkey Kong wakes up and it's like Donkey Kong, all the other Kongs and all your bananas and everything. It's like fucking pure like Legend of Zelda story. Everything has gone wrong while you were asleep. So you gotta go fix it.
Donkey Kong Country was an inside job.
So essentially, like you, the only people that are free from the grasp of the evil King K. Rool are you and the upgrade people, essentially. So it's you and Cranky, and there's Funky Kong is back. Funky Kong gives you the guns, and there's Candy Kong who has some quite sexual things to say to you, like while she's giving you musical instruments.
That is very Rareware.
It's very, but it's kind of so. Oh yeah, step a little bit closer, and I'll show you how to use your instrument, sort of thing, you know. Which is really weird when you're playing Tiny Kong because she's like a fucking 7-year-old looking girl ape thing. But yeah, it's sort of like that. They're conveniently the people that aren't locked away.
They're also asleep.
They're also asleep, yeah.
Actually, I really want to play this now because, like, I kind of missed out on Donkey Kong 64 because I think it was like towards the end of the 64 life cycle.
Well, it was after the expansion pack. That's another issue, actually. If you're trying to play this on N64 and you haven't picked up an expansion pack, that like Donkey Kong 64, it seems to be a Rareware thing. Like Donkey Kong 64 and Perfect Dark. Well, no, Rareware was because they couldn't fit enough stuff on the cartridge, so they needed the extra little bit off the expansion pack. Yeah. Donkey Kong 64, they were about to ship it, if I remember correctly, but in their last testing phase, they were like, shit, nothing is working. And they plugged in an expansion pack, and everything was working, and they just went, that makes no sense. And they just shipped it with the expansion pack.
We don't know why, but fuck it.
Yeah, it was literally just like, this shouldn't fix it, but it does, so shipping out like a bundle of DK64 and the expansion pack.
Yeah, as I remember, it didn't even use the extra RAM.
No, it didn't. It was just like, it was broken, and I was like, oh fuck. Which I think is brilliant, just like that proper bug testing game, you know?
Yeah, cause like my only exposure to this game really was like that random bit of trivia, and then of course the DK rap.
Yeah,
which is the best song ever written.
It's the best song ever written.
Link in the description below.
So I would just shout out to Grant Kirkhope.
It's the only reason that I...
or is it Kirk Granthope? Fuck yeah, I can't remember.
Kirk Granthope.
It's the only reason that I took 5 fruit a day during like my teenage years, you know, just sort of like pineapple smells, yeah. Gotta get some fruit into me. Juggling the DK rap.
Would recommend?
Actually, I was thinking about this while I was talking about it, but I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 going back to it. As in, like, at the time I would have been like, wow, this is such a huge game at the time.
At the time it was a great game.
But no, that's the thing. Leave me alone. You're so cruel. But like, that's the thing. As in, I've been talking about Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day, and I'd recommend them ahead of it, you know?
Sure.
As in, it's a great game, but if you want to try out a Rareware era platformer before like Yooka-Laylee comes out or whatever, and see if you enjoy that kind of concept,
or better game.
Then for humour I'd go Conker's Bad Fur Day, because it's a 7 hour game of humour. For like proper platforming and collection, like balance and backtracking and everything, Banjo-Tooie is just like above and beyond all the other 3 games. And
the pinnacle of their development.
Yeah, and for a simple just kind of like entry level into it, Banjo-Kazooie is also like better than DK64 in my mind.
But yeah, I think we should point out that like our 6 out of 10 isn't like an IGN 6 out of 10.
No,
it's like a complete failure.
It's pretty much it's like there are games better than it, but it's better than your average platformer.
It's
like.
better than most games.
Yeah.
Like,
But, yeah.
like for us, 6 out of 10, like a proper 6 out of 10.
Slightly above average.
Yeah, like, because it's not like, you know...
This is like our actual critical. No game has actually gotten 10 out of 10. Even Xenoblade Chronicles or fucking Undertale, they don't actually get 10 out of 10. It's just like...
Yeah, a game has to be absolutely perfect. Like, we're not going to do this wishy-washy. We're just going to give it... you know, 10 out of 10 because it's what's expected of it or whatever, or like, you know, people kind of... I remember actually seeing, I can't remember what game it was like Fallout 4. Some magazine gave it a 9 out of 10 and people were going, how dare you not give it 10 out of 10? It's like, you haven't played the game yet. And then it came out, it was a fucking bugged mess, and everyone was like, oh, Bethesda, we all knew it was going to be shit when it came out.
That's a nice
That's
save
it.
file.
I remember back in the time with like even Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time, I think got like a 9.7 out of 10. Like, and I think IGN, that was like the first time it ever gave a game 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it was such a huge deal. Like, this game has literally broken so many boundaries in terms of like the limitations of consoles at the time, and like just the scope of the game and all the new like things that it's brought into like gaming genres in general.
Oh, it's huge.
Like DK64 didn't break any boundaries. It's just like, oh, you can change between the Kongs, and it was kind of, it's cute little mechanics, but Rareware were full of those, you know. Like, they did GoldenEye 64, so all of their games have like cool little ways of fucking tweaking about with it. But like, yeah, 6 out of 10 is fair, like, in my mind.
I think it's fair to say like you recommend the game, but it's not the best game ever.
Yeah.
Because if we start putting numbers on things,
Yeah.
But no, but I'm also like, in terms of like going back to a game that's older, like, as in, it's sort of it's like a regraded sort of thing. Like, at the time it would have been like a 9 or like huge, like one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
It's a reassessment.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to be careful. We don't want to get into like the GameSpot thing. Where
Oh,
they, well,
God.
what's the year where they gave, what was it, Doom 2 a poor rating because the game felt old? It was like 15 years old when you reviewed it. It was like... So I think that's a
a
good
wrap.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
A DK rap.
Alright, well, thanks for joining us for the Good Game On podcast. I've been Phil.
I've been Aaron.
I'm Cormac. I got it right this time.
Yay!
Yes.
And we'll hopefully see you next time.
Bye.
See you guys.